and it looked like new information has been revealed about Caitlin Clark's future contract with the Indiana.
Caitlin Clark has already transformed the landscape of women's basketball. But what if there's another game-changing twist hidden inside her rookie contract? A recent wave of reports surrounding the Indiana Fever has sparked major conversations about what could come next for her future. Some believe her next contract could shatter salary records and even push the WNBA toward significant changes in how it structures player compensation. This story isn't just about one superstar. It's about the future direction of the entire league. By the end of this video, you'll understand why Caitlin Clark's contract has become one of the biggest talking points in the basketball world.
Telling everybody, Caitlin Clark's new contract is already in the works, bruh. The Indiana Fever is not wasting no time with making sure they dot their I's and cross all the T's when it comes to keeping Caitlin Clark on this Indiana Fever.
There's no denying Caitlin Clark's impact on the WNBA, and the Indiana Fever are under growing pressure to secure her long-term future with the franchise. Her rookie salary, while set under the league's collective bargaining agreement, represents only a fraction of the value many believe she brings to the sport. The WNBA is now facing a situation it has rarely experienced before. A single player generating extraordinary attention, revenue, and excitement on a scale that rivals or even exceeds that of entire teams. According to recent reports surrounding the Indiana Fever, discussions are taking place behind the scenes about what her future could look like. However, those conversations are reportedly running into a major obstacle: the league's current salary structure and regulations, which many believe were not designed for a player with this level of commercial impact.
We know she's still on a rookie contract for the next couple years, but one thing I can tell you that I know definitively is that the organization is working on a massive contract for Caitlin Clark future contract.
The numbers speak for themselves. Caitlin Clark is reportedly responsible for nearly 26% of the WNBA's overall activity this season. Think about that for a moment. A rookie fresh out of college, generating more than a quarter of the league's attention and business impact with her name connected to roughly 1 out of every 6 WNBA ticket sales. She isn't just another player on the court. She has become a phenomenon, and the Indiana Fever understand exactly what's at stake. Keeping her with the franchise isn't just important. It has become one of the organization's biggest priorities.
Now, we know Caitlin Clark is ultimately going to be the person to yay or nay whatever solution they come up with. So they got to do everything in their best interest to get ahead of this thing way before it ever comes up. So word on the street is that the Indiana Fever is putting together proposals and putting together different things under the WNBA rules that they can for Caitlin Clark's new contract.
With Caitlin Clark leading the headlines and her jerseys selling out almost as quickly as they can be restocked, the Indiana Fever have experienced an incredible surge in fan interest. This season alone, the team has reportedly attracted more than 300,000 fans to its games. Television audiences have also soared, with viewership rising by an estimated 300%, and nearly 45% of those viewers tuning in specifically to watch Indiana Fever games. These numbers represent more than impressive statistics. They reflect the extraordinary impact Caitlin Clark has had on the league. She isn't simply playing basketball. She has become one of the biggest driving forces behind the sport's growing popularity.
All of this is about getting Caitlin Clark new contract done. They get her contract done, seal and deliver the future of this.
However, this is where the biggest challenge begins. The WNBA's current collective bargaining agreement, CBA, places strict limits on player salaries and sets fixed rookie pay regardless of a player's commercial value or impact. That means Caitlin Clark is operating under a system that was created long before a player with her level of influence entered the league. Even at the upper end of her rookie contract, her earnings are modest compared to the revenue and attention many believe she generates. Everyone from Caitlin Clark to the Indiana Fever and league officials is aware of the imbalance. The problem is that the rules have not yet caught up with the reality. According to recent reports, the Indiana Fever are exploring every possible option to strengthen Clark's long-term future in Indianapolis. Performance incentives, creative bonuses, endorsement opportunities, and partnership arrangements are all believed to be part of the discussion. Yet, even those ideas appear to be temporary solutions to a much larger issue to its core. Clark's extraordinary rise has exposed how outdated the league's current compensation structure may be, fueling calls for broader changes in how elite players are rewarded. The impact of Caitlin Clark extends far beyond the basketball court. Economic studies suggest that her presence has generated an estimated $36 million for the city of Indianapolis, an economic boost comparable to hosting major sporting events such as the NCAA Final Four. Her influence is benefiting not only the Indiana Fever, but also local businesses, restaurants, hotels, and the city's economy as a whole. Yet, despite that impact, Clark's rookie contract remains modest by professional sports standards. This contrast has fueled an ongoing debate about whether the league's current salary structure accurately reflects the value of its biggest stars. The comparison with the NBA makes that conversation even more striking. For example, Victor Wanyama, the first overall pick in the 2023 NBA draft, earned a rookie contract worth many millions of dollars, while Caitlin Clark's 4-year rookie deal is worth only a small fraction of that amount. The difference is enormous and continues to raise important questions about how elite talent is compensated across professional basketball. With the WNBA's current collective bargaining agreement approaching its expiration, many believe the upcoming negotiations could provide an opportunity to revisit salary rules and create a system that better rewards players who have an exceptional impact on the league's growth. But change doesn't happen overnight. The longer the process takes, the more questions arise about whether players like Caitlin Clark will eventually explore opportunities elsewhere. As women's basketball continues to grow around the world, the challenge for the WNBA is clear. How can it attract and retain elite talent if its financial structure struggles to keep pace with the value those players create? According to reports, the Indiana Fever understand the importance of keeping Clark for the long term and are expected to explore every available option within league rules. However, those same rules also limit how much flexibility teams have. Whether that means future opportunities overseas or other career paths, the conversation has become much bigger than one contract. Perhaps the most significant takeaway is the ripple effect Clark has created. The next few years could be pivotal, not only for Caitlin Clark's career, but also for the future direction of the WNBA. The league now faces an important question. Can it adapt to a new era of women's basketball, or will it continue operating under a structure that many believe no longer reflects today's reality? The stakes have rarely been higher. Caitlin Clark is more than a once-in-a-generation player. She has become a global basketball brand, a marketing powerhouse, and a symbol of the league's growing potential. Yet, the biggest question remains unanswered. Can the WNBA evolve quickly enough to build a system that supports stars of her caliber? Or will it struggle to keep pace with the opportunities and expectations of the modern game? Caitlin Clark's influence extends far beyond what happens on the basketball court. Reports indicate that her arrival has helped fuel a dramatic rise in television viewership, with Indiana Fever games accounting for a significant share of the WNBA's broadcast audience. There's a clear reason for that. Clark isn't only an elite basketball player. Her confidence, exciting style of play, and magnetic personality have made her one of the biggest attractions in professional sports. Fans aren't just watching her play. They're buying tickets, purchasing jerseys, and following her every move. For the Indiana Fever, her impact reaches far beyond wins and losses. In a league where financial challenges have often been discussed, having a player with Clark's drawing power is an enormous advantage. Her jerseys consistently rank among the league's best-selling merchandise, reflecting the strength of her fan base. Yet, despite that commercial success, teams cannot simply pay players whatever the market suggests they are worth. The WNBA's current collective bargaining agreement places limits on salaries, even for its biggest stars. According to recent reports, the Indiana Fever are exploring every available avenue to make Clark's long-term future with the franchise as attractive as possible. Performance incentives, endorsement opportunities, and other creative options have all been discussed. Those reports suggest just how committed the organization is to keeping one of the league's most influential players in Indianapolis. Performance bonuses, expanded endorsement opportunities, team partnerships, and other creative incentives are all being discussed as possible ways to reward Caitlin Clark. While those options may help, many believe they cannot fully address the larger issue. If the WNBA wants to retain players with Clark's level of influence, some observers argue that broader changes to the league's compensation system may eventually be necessary. The conversation also extends beyond Clark herself. Her situation has become a major test of the league's future. If the WNBA cannot offer competitive financial opportunities to its biggest stars, it could face increasing competition from overseas leagues that have historically attracted elite talent. Although Clark has not publicly indicated that she intends to leave the WNBA, the discussion highlights how valuable players of her caliber are in the global basketball market. If opportunities elsewhere become more attractive, other leagues would almost certainly take notice. For a sports city like Indianapolis, Caitlin Clark represents far more than a franchise player. She has become an economic driver, a community attraction, and one of the biggest reasons fans are filling arenas. Losing a player with that level of impact would be a significant setback for both the Indiana Fever and the city itself. The WNBA and the Indiana Fever understand how important Caitlin Clark has become, not only to the franchise, but also to the league and the communities connected to it. Maintaining that momentum means finding ways to keep one of the sport's biggest stars in Indianapolis despite the challenges. Under the league's current salary structure, player compensation remains limited compared with the commercial value that many believe Clark generates. While endorsement deals can significantly increase her overall earnings, many observers argue that they still do not fully reflect her impact on the league's business growth. That is why the Indiana Fever's long-term strategy has become such a major topic of discussion. According to recent reports, the organization is already exploring ways to strengthen Clark's future with the franchise within the limits of the current collective bargaining agreement. One idea that has been widely discussed is the possibility of more innovative compensation models such as revenue-sharing arrangements or other creative financial incentives. If a model like that were ever adopted, it could represent a major shift for the WNBA and potentially influence how future contracts are structured. However, proposals of that scale would face significant challenges. Revenue-sharing agreements are complex, require extensive negotiation, and would likely need approval from the league and team owners. Any major change to the current system would depend on future collective bargaining discussions and broad agreement across the league. Reports also suggest that the Indiana Fever are exploring the possibility of long-term partnership opportunities connected to Caitlin Clark's brand. The idea is to create additional value through collaborations with companies that align with a public image, allowing both the player and the organization to benefit within the framework of league rules. While creative, that approach also has limitations. Its success depends on continued interest from sponsors and brands, which is closely tied to Clark's popularity and the team's overall visibility. As long as she remains one of the league's biggest attractions, those opportunities are likely to remain strong. Even so, many believe they cannot fully replace long-term structural changes to player compensation. For her part, Caitlin Clark has largely kept her attention on basketball, avoiding public debate about her contract or future. At the same time, she is undoubtedly aware of her value and the opportunities that could exist both inside and outside the WNBA. The Indiana Fever, the WNBA, and the wider sports world all recognize that her influence has become impossible to ignore. Please share your thoughts in the comments section. Subscribe and enable all notifications so you don't miss anything. We'll see you in the next one after you click the video on the screen.